Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm here today to talk about um, mostly how I think this book's gonna end. Not the book itself, the storyline. So, how I think this storyline is going down with because in this book, if you haven't heard, he's back, Superboy Prime, and in both of this week's books, you get evil Justice League. That's why I haven't tried to do it for myself. Evil Justice League. Or Evil Legion of Superheroes. There we go. Okay. I guess we're talking about this one first. Um, Not a whole lot of Booster Gold. In fact, very nil. You do get to see a new time traveler. The evil Phantom Girl or Phantom Lass is at the end of time. Um, she's like spewing out dark gunk. It was awesome. Anyone who tells you different, they're frankly a liar. The book itself wasn't as awesome. They do bring in they do bring in um the Wave Rider, which they say is no relation to Wave Rider, but they don't bring in the fact that they just stole Rip Hunter's ship and he's supposedly perfectly okay with it. Does this make the rest of Legends of Tomorrow canon? I don't know. Like I told Ryan, my friend, the one I wanted on the show, they could easily make a Legends of Tomorrow series out of this with Terry McGinnis, Huntress, Gold Beetle, and Booster Gold, and the new Time Travelers. Yeah. Now, Mom thinks, and I tend to agree with her, that that the new Time Traveler is Jonah Hex's granddaughter, based on one singular line in the book. My bet is it's either Jonas Hunter, Rip Hunter's son from Legends of Tomorrow that no one knows about. Um, Jonah Hex's granddaughter, or Rainey from the Booster Gold series. The little girl that, has gone missing. And they haven't addressed where she's at. Could just be Gold Star, could just be Blue Beetle. I mean, yeah, could just be one of those. Could be Booster Gold again. I honestly don't know. But in both these books, the Legion do a lot of damage, and they do kill a lot of people off. They're very gruesome books. They aren't creature gruesome, but for main DC, I can see why people are sick of the death. I get it, but you knew this was coming because Superboy Prime is the rightful time traveler. if you wear the cloak, I get it. You're a time trapper, and that makes you part of the timeline. But realistically, going back in time, and he addresses this in his book, in this thing. Oh, crap. This thing, right here. Superboy Prime felt an awful lot like Deadpool, come to think of it. He points out that there would be a huge 3-page spread normally, instead of what you get, which is this war-torn planet. The the feder the Federation of Planets, Homeworld, wherever that is, be it EarthGov or I don't know. I don't know where the current Legion call home. But Starman's in it. He is the beginning of the unstable Starman. Superboy Prime even says that the violence is a bit much even for him. But at the end, he, like I said, turns heel. I speculate that he is going to be the time trapper at the very end, because he has to be. He has to be to get the events of Legion of Three Worlds even going. How I don't know how this is going to tie in with Superboy Prime as a whole. How is it? I'd like to know, DC. Honestly, you have a lot of routes to choose from. You could either A, get him stuck at the source wall again, B, go back in time, or forward in time, depending on how he's looking at it, and have it be Legion of Three Worlds. So it's either fight the Titans, fight Connor that way, or fight Connor again. Either way, I guess the missing holes in the timeline, just have him fighting Superboy. And, like, they make it feel like Booster Gold and Superman are going to be licked and beat, and it's going to be done. But I have faith that my DC universe will prevail. Just like I have faith this in this one. It is not. It's Booster Gold Wave Rider. It's not Matthew Rider Wave Rider. That DC knows its stuff because he's drawn differently. Either that or they're gonna correct it and trade. I'll see. Um, as one book, this would get a 4. As individuals, they're each getting a 2. So it will read better in trade. I promise. For what it's worth. When this whole Booster Gold hullabaloo is squared away, they will in fact, have an enjoyable Booster Gold story. I think Booster Gold will be featured in the end of this particular run of Superman. I think certain people in the Booster Gold community are giving up a little too easy when it comes to if this storyline's going to have Booster in it. Because you know it will. You know it will. You can almost bet on it. It's going to have Booster Gold, Rip Hunter, it's going to have somebody. And they're going to clock Superboy Prime just in time. I hate to say faith, but hope that it's gonna be like Triple H. Here comes Rapunzel with the chair. You know, here comes the new guy flying in just in the nick of time. I mean, the DC universe needs a Superman. It even says that in Doomsday Clock. There is with basically without Superman, there is no DC universe. He is the pinnacle event. They said that in Doomsday Clock. They cannot destroy. They'd have to push him out of the universe. They can't do that. Just like they know he can't fight friends. They also have to know they're gonna have to push him into that wormhole at the end of New Gods to even do any sort of damage. I speculate this comes before what goes on in the most recent Justice League. I haven't read it yet, but being that Time Trapper's on the cover and they say they have to help him, I speculate these two books, Dark Tomorrow and Superman 29, take place before Justice League. Just like they must be rebuilding the satellite because that thing's been destroyed at least 3 times in the all access universe. Well, not universe, storyline. Well, they haven't declared it its own separate universe yet, but if they do, I won't be surprised. But yeah, the all access storyline, Batman must be paying through the nose for that satellite because it opened with the New Gods opened with the satellite, and in the question, the satellite was destroyed. And they destroy it again some other time. And it's like, which one is it? Are they rebuilding this thing? You didn't think I caught that? Again, I'm a stickler for continuity. And that's why Superboy Prime needs to have a decent continuity before we kill him. Because you can't tell me where the body goes if you can't tell me where in the story it takes place. So is he in conclusion, is he the time trapper? Or is he pre-Titans fight? I mean, where does this take place for him? And why did Darkseid send him? I mean, the more you think about it, the more holes it becomes. Because if Darkseid didn't send him and he genuinely does just want to team up, well, why doesn't he just tear through the Legion of Superheroes like he does the Titans? Why turncoat at the end? I don't know. Like I said, so many holes. Yeah. Next, we're talking about New Gods. See you tomorrow, kids. You know what, Mom? I'm going to have you read me New Gods, and then we'll put them both together. Okay? We might even throw in... Gwen Pool. Yeah, Gwen Pool. That's a good book. Alright. So... New Gods. Just like I promised. And Gwen Pool. Also, just like I promised. Let's start with New Gods. New Gods. Number 9. Wait, 9? Yeah, 9. It doesn't feel like 9 issues. You open with Darkseid's invasion. And one of the what in any other book would be considered a minor character. And its move through its society. Big twist in this, Seraphin, which isn't the man's name. I refuse to call him that. So let's call him Resurrection Dude. Resurrection Dude. He turns out to be a bad guy, which may explain why they put the Resurrection Man series in Black Label. I kind of thought of him more as an anti-hero up till this issue, but anti-heroes don't shoot kids, not even with magic bullets. I knew he was working with Maxwell Lord. That's kind of a given. Yeah. The trick now, will he let whatever's happening to this poor kid finish, or will it just be part of the regular book now? Will Resurrection Dude step in and stop it? That is the cliffhanger they left you off on. I mean, we know that there is going to be a point where Mr. Miracle says, "Oh, I'm too humble and I can't take the staff." It's going to turn out Orion's corrupt, or he's a pretty good leader. And the dark side, the half of New Genesis has been split down the middle, because that's what they'll do. That's what they always do. They always do the Brady Bunch thing and say, "This is your half of this planet, and this is my half." Anyway, the whole Orion story is not much of a cliffhanger. They've done it before. It felt like a rerun. The Green Lantern was pretty cool, but I mean, the art was awesome. I loved it. We did. We loved it. I still feel that this takes place in some kind of future nebulous timeline. Oh yeah, that's right. I hadn't said that yet. I feel that New Gods takes place after what happens in Superman. That whatever happens in Superman in the Legion of Superheroes is clearly, like I said, like I know I said in the review, they blew up the satellite. And satellites don't get repaired that easily. You have to, I don't know. It just seems like repairing the JLA satellite would be a bit more work than just, it's repaired. There has to be time in between where they show where they're stationed at, like, the Hall of Justice or the Bat Cave or the Young Justice Memorial Statue. They have a lot of leftover places. They don't have to use the satellite. So, anyway, that's my little aside on that. That's why I made such a big deal about them being drawn differently when it comes to Miss Martian. Remember that? Remember when I made a big deal of that? Well, there it is. There's why. That I feel that this takes place in a alternate timeline or some nebulous future time. After the question. Yep. After the question series. After they rebuild the satellite. Until proven otherwise, same rules as Spider-Boy, I am free to think this. If anything, just this issue. So, one thing that is for sure, though, 4 out of 5. But definitely, this happens. This on the cover here happens. There's no argument if they killed that Gwen Pool or... I mean, she comes back as a spirit in the next one, which apparently you can do in Marvel Comics. My question to them, before it gets too far, because the Superboy Prime thing might have gotten too far already, when does this take place in regards to Batman v Deadpool? And don't tell me Gwen Pool doesn't rely heavy on continuity, because to make those jokes, to say what the sucky thing about comics is, and to have a character such as herself reference continuity, you gotta have a story to be aware of. You know, it's that simple. And don't tell me Gwen wouldn't have been right there for Batman v Deadpool. Otherwise than that, best book of the week. That's right, best book of the week. Even better than New Gods. You don't get an explanation for this, but you don't need one. You don't need an explanation as to why Gwen Stacy's back. It's at this point, who cares? Who cares? It's not like everybody making a big deal of the fact that Superboy Prime's back and Booster Gold's tortured. Yeah, no. This was just genuinely a fun book. So, I am looking forward to reading the next one. I'm several behind when it comes to that. Yeah, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Yeah. Back to New Gods. Just question of the day. Do you think that once Darkseid comes back, this when this issue takes place, will be all squared away? Or do you think that they're turning the Seraphan character, Resurrection Dude, into I get used to calling him that, Resurrection Dude, into a bad guy? Um, do you think that the bug from Young Animal, do you think that takes place in the same continuity? Um, like I said, when do you think this takes place after Final Crisis? Barry's still alive, so it obviously takes place after Final Crisis. Let me know. Do you think they'll ever clear it up? I want to know your thoughts. Like, comment, especially comment about that in the towel section. I've been Bob. This has been the Other World according to Bob. Bob out. Yeah, they don't know when this takes place. They're like, when? They're like, we don't care. We don't know. Let's just put number 9 off to the side somewhere. Yeah. They're just like, have the kid run off, scream, you lied, and let's teach him to go with strangers. Come on, Mom. That's funny.